Om Kayena vacha manasyendrayirva Bhutyatmanava prakriti swabhava Karomi adyat sakalam paresma Narayana samarpayami Narayana samarpayami.
Dear Seeker of Truth, welcome. This is a very auspicious moment. We are going to talk about Bhakti. Bhakti, divine love. So we are going to talk about Bhakti as the essence of all spiritual paths, as the soul of all spiritual paths, and also as a path in itself, Bhakti Yoga. So this is a work made by sage Shandilya, the Shandilya Bhakti Sutras. Not much is known about this Shandilya, only that he was a sage, a God-realized being that gone through many other philosophies and finally got to the nectar-like Bhakti as the soul of it all. So Sage Shandilya had a very intellectual approach also. He was concerned about getting from the different authorities, the different scriptures, the validity, the importance of bhakti as a spiritual path. So he gathered that all and shared it. So may you all find divine love in your hearts. May you all be blessed by this auspiciousness. May you all find God. Moving on, Shandilya Bhakti Sutras, Sutra 5. Because at the very dawn of Bhakti, Jnana, or abstruse knowledge of Brahman, nay, the Jnana Yoga itself, the path of induction, has totally lost its charm and significance. This is why it is said that knowledge is weaker than devotion. So, because the knowledge here means that which leads to devotion, even if it is not seen in that way. Because when Brahman is contemplated, the abstract, the greatness, the vastness, the infinite aspect of divinity, Brahman, is through a knowledge of its reality compared with the unreality of the world. But without knowing, this is about devotion. And as the mind concentrates on this, without understanding that this is about devotion, then when devotion rises, this dryness is filled with nectar. This is the bliss, the ananda part of the self-realization. So this devotion, this nectar, this sweetness, when it rises, all else becomes irrelevant. So if that sage had a pile of scriptures in self-realization, in the dawn of Ananda, of bliss, then all of that loses completely its meaning. The Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran says, attaining Gyan leading to God realization, Godhood, and an exalted stature equivalent to that of a wise and enlightened sage or seer, or doing numerous of meritorious deeds such as austerity, penance, and charity, or acquiring the best of knowledge and wisdom, or observance of sacred vows and sacraments, etc. Nothing pleases the Lord like having pure and undiluted devotion to Him does. So This is the summum bonum of all. So all these austerities, meditations, knowledge, wisdom, all of this is about purifying, becoming holy. And this is what allows the rise of devotion. And this is what pleases the Lord, because purity has to be rising and intensifying so that devotion may be possible. But not any kind of devotion, pure and undiluted devotion. It is that devotion that is not tainted by personal desires, not even liberation. It is that love for God, for God's sake only, and not to gain something in return. So nothing pleases the Lord like this. So this is not saying that sometimes the mind, sometimes no, majority of the time the mind plays tricks on you. So this is saying that to have this pure and undiluted love, this is what pleases the Lord. But all these other practices, they are essential for purity. And without purity, you cannot reach this level of devotion. And I hear the sentence a lot, oh, but that kind of quest of that level, that is for saints. This from seekers of truth. But only a saint reaches God. So if you're looking for God, it is the path of sainthood. And the path of sainthood is not the path where you magically become a saint. It is a path where you sanctify yourself through the spiritual practices continuously until there's nothing left of the brands, of the leftovers of worldliness in you. In the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, all sorts of offerings made in the sacred fires and other rituals go to the respective gods, but an offering made by a devotee in the form of his devotion comes straight to me. So, the offerings that are tainted with desire, they go to the gods because they are the ones responsible for that, the other gods that take care of creation. But the offering made by a devotee, which is free from these contaminations, even if it isn't, goes directly to God. But in this case, it doesn't mean that it's going to grant it, of course, but that's another thing. In this case, an offering made by a devotee in the form of his devotion. So an offering can be just an act. Usually starts with an act because of desires. But if it has heartfelt devotion with that offering, that goes directly to God. It is received by Him. In the Vishnu Puran, the Lord told Prahlad, since your mind remains steady in having devotion for me, since you are steadfast in it, surely emancipation and salvation will come to you. And I bless you that your devotion and love for me will never diminish. And that's the biggest blessing, because that is the eternal, blissful nectar. And that is the purpose of life. It is the highest achievement. That's when life is fully honored. in every sense. The Bhagavad says, even sages who remain at the state of complacence and equilibrium, and who are free from any adjunct of Maya, they too are infatuated with unalloyed loving devotion to Sri Hari, and such an unstinted soul gains parabhakti, or unadulterated and unalloyed devotion to Sri Krishna, the supreme par excellence, which is an end in itself. So those who are self-realized, who have broken the ties with Maya by Gyan, those too are filled with devotion. Sutra 6. Negative emotions as hatred, antagonism, bitterness, suspicion, opposition, and malice, they oppose bhakti. Because devotion is related to sweetness of emotions that provide extreme bliss and eternal joy that are derived by a person when the sweetness of the nectar is tasted. So, it is very common to justify all these emotions by different means. But this is against devotion. It kills devotion. It's like a poison, a very strong poison that you throw into the bushes. It kills all of them. So it doesn't matter what excuses you think you have to entertain these emotions, but understand, this is not about the other. You're polluting your heart. So I will repeat again. Negative emotions as hatred, antagonism, bitterness, suspicion, even suspicion, opposition, and malice oppose bhakti, because devotion is related to sweetness. So the sweet emotions help all these other emotions. They don't allow bhakti to rise. They are against it. The Taittiriya Upanishad says, the fortunate ones are able to taste the bliss of God realization as well as of self-realization, which is far sweeter than any other taste. It is the sweet of all sweets. Again, in the Taittiriya Upanishad, Supreme God is an embodiment of ecstasy and bliss. If one devotes himself to Him, thinks of nothing but God, one is able to enjoy the taste of nectar. So these comparisons with the taste of nectar is always present in the scriptures, because it is a word that for a human conception can bring this some closeness to what it is. And whatever is opposite to this, it's not, it doesn't help. So whenever these emotions are coming to you from someone else, they are giving you an opportunity to humble yourself and to remove your own negative emotions. When a situation comes that is pulling these emotions from within you, you need to turn away from it, hold on to the mantra, think about God, and do not let yourself drag in these emotions. And you have to pluck every aspect, every seed in your mind, because as you have seen, suspicion, malice is not a seed, but even this suspicion and little judgments, apparently with no problem, like, how do you say this in English? Don't remember. But that which doesn't seem to be a problem, which is just a tiny thing, All of these things, they have to be plucked out from your mind. You cannot entertain these kinds of thoughts if you want to grow in love for God. In the Gita, Lord Krishna says, "Those who have attained stability of the mind turn away from enjoyment of the sense objects of this world. They find no enjoyment in their taste if they have tasted the bliss of God realization." Yes, because mind turn away from enjoyment. So these are two phases. Those who have attained stability of mind turn away from enjoyment of the sense objects of this world. Well, it's more or less because without letting go of these sense objects, it is very difficult to achieve stability of mind. So sometimes things are pushed into that sense. So you turn away from enjoyment, but the enjoyment hasn't turned away, but you haven't really turned away because you're still connected to it. So in the beginning, you abstract from things. You force this and you work on your devotion. And as you are getting purified and you achieve stability of mind, then there will be aversion towards the objects of the senses. Then you turn away like a natural reaction. And then they find no enjoyment in their taste if they have tasted the bliss of God realization. Because after this, everything becomes tasteless. It has nothing. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, "Those who are ignorant are not only filled with negative qualities, such as egoism, arrogance, haughtiness, lust, anger, and malice for everyone. They hate me too. I sent such malicious fools to take an ignominious birth in demonic wombs in the world of transmigration." So these kind of emotions, all of these negative qualities, but especially in this line of egoism, arrogance, haughtiness, lust, anger, and malice for everyone, this speaks about immense pride. So this the Lord sends these malicious fools. They are fools because they are ignorant of what that is doing to themselves, to their divine nature, to take ignominious birth in demonic wombs, in those who have all these qualities even stronger, because many times, for example, arrogance, you cannot talk an arrogant with sweet words, talk him out of his arrogance. That will not touch him. So when this is very strong, only the same kind of emotions, of experience of these types of emotions coming towards him very much more intense, like that expression of tasting one's own poison, can help a blind being to open himself up, to realize his mistakes, and to start a path of leaving all of that behind. Everything is a blessing. Sometimes it is not seen in that way, or the majority of times. Sage Shandilya ideal of true bhakti is that the individual soul should be fully saturated with love, affection and attachment for the Lord, for otherwise he will not get his due share of bliss and ecstasy. Without this love, what is the use of self-realization? Yes, that is a very big point. Because many are in the spiritual path, they go to Advaita, non-duality, and they seek for self-realization, but are untouched by devotion. They think they have it, but it's not really the case. They are untouched by it. And if they achieved their purpose, self-realization as they conceived it, it would be a waste of life. Because what would be the use of it? It would be the same dryness. So that is not possible, because self-realization, God-realization, they are saying, they are that ocean of nectar. So this devotion is the life of all spiritual paths. And with devotion as the main center of it, every path is divine. And understand that it is all about the content, nothing about the form. So all spiritual paths, if they have worldly desires as a goal, they are not spiritual paths, they are worldly paths. It doesn't matter which it is, in which form, which teachings, which philosophies. It doesn't matter. Because a being follows his natural inclination, depending on personal characteristics, karma, etc., etc., many things. But it doesn't matter. All are trying to awaken devotion. But very few perceive this, and from these, very few achieve this. Because this part is very important, this part of Sage Chandelier. The soul should be fully saturated with love. For love to get in, purity has to be there, or it gets contaminated. It doesn't come in. So purification, purity has to be there, and we will go to these purificatory disciplines, spiritual practices. That's what they are. But when you look at spiritual practices and understand this principle, that is about filling yourself completely with love and purging everything which is antagonist to love, not human love, not lustful love, not love with conditions, with desires attached to it, with expectations. It's not that love. It's pure, divine love. For it to come down, that which is antagonist to it has to come out. So it should be fully saturated with love. Fully, completely. Affection and attachment for the Lord God, for otherwise he will not get his due share of bliss and ecstasy, because he is not connected to the ocean of bliss. So this affection and attachment for the Lord God is the connection, is connecting oneself completely to that ocean of nectar of bliss. And without this love, what is the use of self-realization? Of course, because the point has been missed. But that is not really possible. Okay.
Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhushka sakha tvameva, tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva.